Alrighty, good afternoon. H4 just closed, but as always, no rush because it is a Monday. Okay, Mondays, the market can be slow and the volume can be very, very wonky. So starting off with GJ, we have our sell zones up here and our buy zone down here. Why is it a sell? Engulfing sell meets engulfing sell and another engulfing sell. Then for this lower zone, it is an engulfing buy that failed. Then price came back, played around, created an engulfing sell. Then for the buy zone, engulfing buy meets an engulfing buy. Current price is over here. So what can GJ do? Ooh, excuse me for my sniffles and very extremely cracky voice. Okay, I didn't really sleep well last night, but that's okay. Okay, current price is over here. Excuse me. If it decides to climb up into our sell zone during this euro session, and if H4 decides to close within, showing that it does respect the zone, then potentially we can maybe catch a sell down. Excuse me. But if it breaks above this zone, then we know we have a seller's zone up here too that it might want to test before dropping back down. After breaking the zone, this zone in particular, either the price can shoot up into this zone in one go or retrace back into this key level for a better buy up to test this upper level of a sell zone. Okay, vice versa. Excuse me. If it decides to drop into our buy zone and respects that, then potentially it might bounce back up. But if it breaks the zone, then potentially it might want to test a lower zone. Okay, so where do you monitor for any entries? If you want to enter, especially on a Monday, beware, be careful. Monitor M5 or M15. Wait for the setups to show itself and complete itself before pressing anything to lower your risk. Okay? Second pair, USD CAD. Also one of my favorite pairs. Alright? Now we have a sell zone up here with two key levels, an upper one and a lower one. Then we have a buy zone down here. A sell zone, why? Because it is the closest engulfing sell. When this H4 came in, it had wick rejections. It did not create any engulfing sell yet, but you can see these wicks showing that sellers over in this engulfing sell are trying to do its job. Okay, so this is a sell zone that I am monitoring, or an engulfing sell that I am monitoring for any potential entry to the market. Then we have our buy zone down here and engulfing sell that broke. In the process of breaking, created an engulfing buy within the zone. Current price is just right below the sell zone, so what can it do? So potentially in this H4, if the price decides to climb up into our sell zone and respects it, then potentially it might drop back down. But if it breaks above, then potentially it might want to test a higher zone. Okay, vice versa. If it drops into our buy zone and respects it, then potentially we can get a bounce back up. But if it breaks below, then it might want to test a lower area. Okay, we also have an engulfing buy over here that potentially might want to test before a better buy up, or even break below to contest a lower buy area for a better buy up. Okay, the higher the movement, or the higher the time frame, the bigger the movement. Okay, so that's for USD CAD. Now we go to our last pair. And where do you place your SL? A lot of you have been asking me that, despite me explaining and repeating myself over and over. Set your SL after you enter, once you find any setup in M15. If you don't find any setups in M15, then you switch to M5. Once you get that setup and it is completed, meaning if you were looking at M15 and it creates a setup on M15, wait for the M15 to close first to complete the setup before entering. If it's on an M5, wait for M5 to close first before you enter the market. Once you do that, then you count 40 pips from your entry to set your SL. Okay? That gives a bit of space for the price to move a little. Okay, so either it can go shoot after your entry or retrace back just a little before going the direction. But either way, you must have an SL to manage your losses because nothing is 100%. Now for UJ, we have a sell zone up here, buy zone, buy zone. Now this buy zone is in the middle of this sideway that is happening-ish over here. And why did I mark it? Because there is a crossing of the EMAs around here, showing that there is a price level around here that is quite saturated. So it's just going to be a price area or price zone that I will monitor. For the sell zone up here, we have an engulfing buy, then failed, and in the process of failing created this doji candle. So it's very subjective when it comes to doji candle. Either you can use this as an engulfing sell or not, okay? So it can go either way, but keep your options open. But not only that, right, we do know we have an engulfing fail. Even if you choose not to pick this as an engulfing sell, there is a crossing of the EMAs over here. So we know that this level also has a saturation, right? If I actually... No, this broke, so that's okay. I will use this. I'm not using this engulfing buy that failed because this candle broke above, hence this is invalid. So I'm picking the latest price where the candles are still respecting. Okay, that's for our upper sell zone, or our only sell zone. Then we have a buy zone down here that is an engulfing sell that broke, so it becomes an engulfing fail with the EMA crossing, and engulfing buy meets an engulfing buy that basically shot all the way up over here. So I'm using this zone to monitor for a buy, because from this buy level it was able to just shoot up more than 400 pips. So it's worth monitoring. Now current price is over here. What can UJ do? Screenshot. Once again, if it climbs up into our sell zone and respects it, then potentially we can get a sell back down. But if it breaks above, then potentially it might want to test a higher zone. Vice versa, if it drops into our buy zone and respects it, then potentially it could get a better buy, right? Or a bounce back up, because we want the buys to happen in between or around the key levels. This is where the volume usually flows in. This is where there are numerous traders waiting to enter the market. So you would see either a spike up or spike down, poke rejections around the key levels. If it decides to break below this zone, then we know we have a lower buy zone down here that potentially might want to test. Okay, so that's all for the 3 pairs. Please be responsible of your account. It is a Monday, don't rush. If you want to enter, just enter in small lots, small sizes, okay? We don't want to injure your accounts or just when the week has only started, okay? I'll talk to you in a bit. Have a nice day. Bye.